Hey guys, my name's Omar. I'm a TA for the machine architecture class at the University of Minnesota, class code 2021. And today, during our labs, the CC lab machines had an outage, so I couldn't really give my presentation for both of my sections. So I'm just going to record my presentation in order to help you guys really understand how to use a debugger, and hopefully this helps complete this lab. And also, this information is also very important for part 2 of project 2. Hopefully, you guys like my presentation. So let's get to it. This is lab 5. Of course, there's a questions.txt. Oh, where is it? There's a questions.txt file which asks you a bunch of basic questions about how to run the debugger and a couple of basic commands. But this is what I'm going to be doing through this video. I'm going to walk you through how to set up arguments in the debugger and how to open up the debugger and all of that. So yeah, you can probably answer the questions.txt after watching this video. Okay, so let's move on to the debugger. In order to open up the debugger and run our stuff through it, obviously, let me hide this. Obviously, we have to make our code first. I made it earlier, which is why it's saying that. So you have to make your code first, and you enter the debugger by just writing GDB and then dot dash, and then the name of the C file that you want to run the debugger on. So now we've opened up the debugger, and you want to run the debugger, so don't quit. You want to continue, so just type C. And then yay, finally we're in the debugger. Okay, cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. What do we do now that we're in the debugger? Let's first analyze phase 3 very briefly. So obviously this is a C file that has a bunch of functions in it, and these functions do a bunch of things. And there's a main right here. Cool, cool, cool. What we want to do and what the GDB debugger helps us do is that it helps us step through our code line by line and analyze certain values and certain things. So how do we do that? Do we just click the run command? Right, you'd assume so, but no. If you click the run command, it just runs the entire program. So it's basically just like compiling it and running it. So you don't want to do that. When we did the run command, it gave us a print value, which was usage and then my home directory, blah, 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 blah. And this is this if statement right here. So it's hitting this if statement and it's printing here, as you can see, usage, blah, 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 because we're not providing our program with an argument. We're not providing our main over here with an argument, which it requires in order to run, right? So how do we give our program slash our debugger an argument? We just very simply do set args to input.txt. Input.txt is just a text file that we gave you guys, and this is what you're going to use as input. And just a little hint, you're going to be inputting 4 numbers in here, and I just put 1, 2, 3, 4 in order for us to test what that does. So now let's do that. Set args input.txt. Cool. Now we have input.txt as our argument. So what do? Do we just run the program again? Well, yes and no. Now we actually do have like a more reliable print information over here. So now it's saying shifty bits hit. If you go back up to phase 3, you realize that it's hitting this if statement here, which is not what we want. We want to be hitting the hit statement over here, right on target. So that means that we're failing something, and we need to analyze our code in order to determine what we need to do. So instead of just running the program like we've been doing, we want to actually step line by line. And how do we do that? That brings us to my next command, breakpoints. So breakpoints allow you to set like a stop at certain parts of your code, and you can do that by many different ways. You can set a breakpoint by just writing break main, which will set a breakpoint at your main function, or you can write break and then the name of a function you want to specifically break at, or a specific line you want to break at. You do it this way too. I just like setting a breakpoint at main since Every program has a main, easy. Also, you don't have to write break every time or next or whatever command you want to write. You can just write the first letter of the command and the GDebugger understands. So B main, we'll set a breakpoint at main. Cool, cool, cool. Now we have a breakpoint at main. Let's run and see what happens. So once we run, it displays the line that we're at, and now we're running our program line by line. So in order to move on to the next line in our program, you have to use the next command. So that's what I'm using right here. I'm nexting into the next line. So next, 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 next. Oh no, what happened? We printed out the stuff that we printed out before, and that's because we just kept nexting, like we just kept using the next command. What we want to actually do is that we want to step into our function call over here, because that's where all the sauce is happening. That's where all the meat and potatoes are. Right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this program and this lab by using our next command, which is the step command. So let's rerun this by just running again. Okay, and then we're going to step through using next, 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 next. And now that we're on the phase 03 function call line, what we want to do is to step using the step command. And now you can see that we've moved to the line number over here, and now we're actually going through our function. So now we can also use the next command in here, next, next, next. It's just running line by line all of these values. And now we want to actually analyze what the fuck is going on, right? So that's where the print command comes into play. So the print command is literally just print, and then like let's say you want to know what the value of A is, you say print A and it gives you the value of A. And the value of A is 1 because our input was 1, and then you can understand the chain of values here, right? If you print B, then that's 2. If you print C, then that's 3, right? And then you can keep nexting, and you can print all of these things. Okay, you want to print hash, there you go. And if you keep nexting, 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 eventually you will finish this function, and when you finish this function, it returns to main. But because we have an end now function, it calls that, goes into that, and it ends your program. But anyways, that's kind of most of the things that you'll need in order to do this lab. If you want to know extra commands, some cooler commands, then you should go to the GDB guide, which is right on the main page of our class. It's right here, this GDB link. This GDB link has references to a whole bunch of all the commands I talked about, and a shit ton more, like this info breakpoint shows you information about all your breakpoints. We have just one, which is the one on main, and shows you how to clear your breakpoints too, which is very nice. And yeah, as you can see, all of these commands are right here, so nothing to stress about that. The TUI mode is nice, but it's not super relevant. You don't have to use it. If you want to know what this is, just look at the link over here, right? So anyways, an important part that you will need not just for this lab in order to solve it, but also for part 2 of project 2, you can print in many different formats, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So if you go over here and you go to the print section in the commands, you can see here print a value. If you just add like a -x, then you're printing the value but in a hexadecimal number, and you can print it in octal number, string, and binary. And the little hint, what you'll want to be doing in this lab is that you'll want to be printing some of these values in binary in order to determine what's happening and to understand what's going on. I'm not going to give you more than that. I already gave you a lot. So yeah, if you let's do an example. So if you print in binary using this command over here, let's print A in binary. Well, I guess A is 1, so it's not the best. So as you can see, we printed B earlier, which was just 2, and 2 in binary is obviously just 10. So that's how you print in binary. And if you just click run again, it will just terminate the program. Well, if it will ask you if you want to rerun or not, and that's how you restart from main again. And that's kind of the gist of this lab. And now you know the basics, so now you can tackle this project. You can tackle this lab and this project. So yeah, hopefully this video helped you guys, and sorry for the outage. Hopefully you guys will get an extension. I know I'll try to tell the professor to give you guys an extension. But have a good day.